Hi everyone, good evening. My name is Eziaku Onyeizu, or you can call me Izzy. I'm studying a PhD in architecture in Department of Architecture, NICAI, and my supervisor is Hubert. And my topic asks a simple question: can architecture improve productivity? Now, despite the fact that this question is quite easy, I would like us to just hold on and let me tell you my case. Okay, the green building movement, which is actually what initiated green buildings we have this today, started in the 1990s as a response to the sustainability crusade that came up. And then it was more of a moral imperative. No one was forced to have green buildings, and there was no legal obligations to it. As such, the number of green buildings we had were quite minimal. In the year 2000, there came up a new research that actually went a step further by stating that if you have a green building, your occupants are going to be very much productive. Now, at the heart of every business is success. Every businessman wants to make success. And at the center of all business activities is the human element, which is the worker or the occupants in this case. Now, for so many years, business owners have tried to see how they can measure how productive the people they are paying are, and if possible, increase this productivity. As such, when the green building system came up and said that if you have a green building, your occupants are going to be productive, that seemed so much like a viable venture for them. And they say this in simple terms: the greener your building is, the more productive your occupants are. The more productive your occupants are, the more money you make. Now, the green building system initiated the green rating tools. Now, these tools actually specified an optimal indoor environment quality at which it's presumed that occupants will be most productive. If you achieve these levels of temperature and lighting, your occupants will work better and make more money for you. And this was actually evaluated or studied, and they found out that more people, there was less absenteeism in offices, people were more productive, and if you actually put them through tests, they will perform better. But then when you look into this research, you find out that there's actually no substantial proof. As such, my research asks these questions: what actually makes us productive? Secondly, really, does where I am actually affect the way I work? And thirdly, the way we have been measuring productivity all these years, are they reliable? My research wants to make these very controversial statements. The first is, there is no correlation between the indoor environment quality of an office and my productivity. The second one is, the optimal indoor environment quality specified by these green rating tools does not represent how I feel about my environment. And thirdly, productivity cannot be adequately measured in an office. My research will focus on the indoor environment quality of green buildings and how they affect the productivity of an occupant. And I'm going through this through reviewing past studies that have been done in UK, US, and all over the world, and also engage myself in my own empirical study to know if this is actually true. The first review I did, which was the most important one, is to look at our Green Star rating tool, which is the Green Star NZ office. And they have managed to follow the UK and the US system by specifying that if you have a 2.5 daylight factor in your office, the occupants are going to be more productive. Now, this is the minimum daylighting that is expected that an office should have. As you can see all over New Zealand, there are more glazing in our buildings. And you know what glazing brings about? Glare. It brings about so many other things. Secondly, it states that we need 400 lots of light on a walking plane for me to be able to see and walk. But then, a very recent research has shown that we don't need this amount of lighting to see and walk. 100 lots of light is enough. And again, what is being measured is lighting on a plane, on a walk plane. But the human eye does not see light on a plane. We see light as reflected from all four corners of the environment we are walking in. Thirdly, it says that at some particular temperature levels that occupants will work better. You find out that if you go deeper into the rating tool, the temperature range that is given for air-conditioned buildings is quite narrow, and that given for naturally ventilated buildings are quite wide. As such, if I am a designer, it will be easier for me to install an air conditioner to achieve this. If you look at this drawing, you find out that this kind of represents an office environment. And there are three different kinds of indoor environment quality we have here. One is the extreme. This is a situation where none of us can work. It's either too cold or it's too hot. The other one is adaptable indoor environment quality. Now, the adaptable one is, come on, we're human beings. We're all adaptable. We can adapt to varying temperature. But then you find out that with this new optimal indoor environment quality, is flattening this curve towards a straight line. As such, you have most of our offices are air-conditioned, and the temperature is stagnant all through the year. Okay. So this actually brought some thoughts to me. One is, most of these studies have concentrated on comfort and not productivity. And we know that comfort is not the same thing as productivity. And most of these buildings are being designed for comfort and not productivity. So for us to say that these buildings actually make us more productive is something we should think about. The second one is absenteeism. But I asked us a question. The fact that I am in an office, does it make me productive? I can come to the office and watch YouTube all day. I am not being productive. The third one is reported and actual productivity. We are all workers, and I'm not going to say I'm not productive, even if I'm asked, because I'm paid to be productive. So if you ask me, am I productive? Of course I am. I'm a super being. But am I actually productive? The second thing is performance test. If you put me through a test, I will do my best to perform well. But that does not represent my normal working condition, because most times we actually don't work that well. The third is factors that affect productivity. Is it only the lighting, the temperature, and the noise in our environment that affects the way we work? Are there other things like our personal characteristics or our relationships or even our experiences at home, our cultural values? Do these things actually affect our productivity? Now, I've carried out some empirical evidence on some buildings, and I'm yet to do the third one. And I selected these buildings based on their level of glazing and the kind of ventilation they've used. Over here, they are naturally ventilated, no form of air conditioning. This missed it, and this is strictly air conditioned. And I used the universal questionnaire, which has been used both in UK and US and so many other places to actually prove that occupants of green buildings are more productive. And I noticed in this questionnaire, they actually asked the question, are you productive? And all of them say yes. Now, I developed my own questionnaire, which the question I asked is, what makes you more productive? And what do you understand as being productive? I have gotten a lot of responses, and from the review of literature I've done, I've come to realize that most of the results are conflicting. If you actually look at these papers, if you go through them, you find out that they all have a lot of variations, indicating there are other things that actually affected the results they got rather than the physical factors of the environment. The second one is most of these studies have concentrated on comfort and not productivity. As such, it is best if we say that indoor environment quality affects our comfort and not our productivity. Thirdly, the empirical evidence I carried out, I found out that inadequate sleep has been the most determining factor when it comes to productivity. It's followed by poor equipment. Then, being undervalued at work, even before temperature, which is a physical factor. Another thing I want to mention here is being adaptive and optimal. I've also come to realize that people have actually said that they prefer the environment the indoor environment quality of where they are fluctuating. They enjoy the fact that I can feel cold at some time, I could feel hot sometime. It makes me feel alive. A very recent study has actually proved that air-conditioned environments stimulate boredom. You tend to have this stable indoor environment, and you tend to get very bored. As such, concentrating on this picture, I would like to ask the question again. Does architecture really improve our productivity? Thank you.